morning. My name is Cindy Barton, and we're so happy you're here today to make puppets with us. I am the program manager here at the Center for Creativity, and you're here as part of our I Can't Workshop series, which happen 3 times a year, fall, summer, and spring. And so these workshops, as you know, are free and open to the public, so spread the word, tell your friends. We'd love to have them come join us. We have a few workshops left, and there's some flyers on where you signed in. And yeah, we'd love to have you come back. Today we have Carl Jones, who's going to show us how to make some fun puppets, the old school brown bag way, but he does it in such a creative, fun way. This is going to be awesome. And he also does puppet performances around town. So we're just thrilled for him to be here.
Great.
Thanks, Carl.
Thanks, Cindy. Thank you guys for having me. Hi. My name is Carl. If you forget it, it's literally embroidered on my shirt, Carl, K-A-R-L. I'm excited you all are going to join us for a puppet making workshop today. As Cindy said, I perform puppet shows. I've been doing it for about 10 years. I was living in New York City at the time, and I started volunteering at a really cool nonprofit theater called The Tank, and they provided free performance space for anyone who was conceiving of a project. So if you were workshopping a play, or if you were figuring out a new puppet performance, or you wanted to sing to 10 of your friends, they would give you a black box theater or a large proscenium-style stage to perform on. And because it was free, there were a lot of puppeteers figuring out how to do work. So it was a really cool puppeteer community. And I'd had a performance that I'd been working on for a while, and they offered me a space. And the first thing, I kind of woke up from this weird dream, and I was like, oh, what if we did historic figures or famous figures, but in that traditional paper bag puppet process that you might remember. So I see we have some kids in the audience, right? Some of you may have done this recently, or maybe some of the other folks in the rooms, you did it a long time ago. But with the traditional lunch sack paper bag, you've got one hinge, and it's the mouth. So the mouth opens, and it closes, right? And usually you might like pop an eye or two, or draw like a mouth on it. And I was like, what if we did it to an even more advanced degree? So on the tables, you'll probably see at least one puppet. If you're interested in seeing more examples of the puppets, there's this book up here, and you can flop through. This is Maurice Sendak. Some of you all may know him as the author and illustrator of Where the Wild Things Are. It's one of my favorite children's books. And so Maurice Sendak has some dark hair, some light hair, some grays, some browns. He's got a big beard with whites and browns and grays in it. But the thing that all the puppets have in common is this one single hinge that is the mouth. So it's the same structure that you saw when we opened just the plain sack, where Maurice Sendak's mouth opens and closes. And so that's what we're all going to start working on today. Now, some of you might be sort of adaptive, improvisational crafters. You like to look at something, get an idea for it, and go for it. And that's great, and that's why the puppets are on the table for you to sort of go from. Some of you might like instructions. There are some people who like to go one thing at a time. I am not an instruction person. However, I wrote these out for some people who like instructions. And so if you're interested, there's a very crudely drawn diagram and very crudely hand-scribbled notes saying, do this. The biggest instruction I have to give you is that you're first going to want to figure out who you're going to make. And so we like people to make historic figures, famous figures, people from the news, people from the media, maybe your favorite pop star, maybe your favorite actor or actress, maybe your favorite astronaut. Whatever you're interested in making is totally good with the theme. And sometimes I'll do specific themes if I'm working on a show, but I'm not working on any shows right now, so I'm open to anything. And what I love about doing these workshops is that you all create a puppet of someone I might not know about, and then you'll tell me the history of that person. And then I might be able to incorporate them in a puppet performance in the future. So that being said, if you make a puppet today and you absolutely love your puppet and you want to hold it in your closet or put it on your refrigerator or give it to your parents or whatever, you're welcome to take the puppet with you. If, however, you want your puppet to live on and perform across the United States and maybe even internationally, and you want to help me learn more about history, you can leave your puppet with my large collection. I have 1,600, so it will become part of a large army of puppets that have traveled around the world and performed in New York City and San Francisco and Los Angeles. So it's up to you. If you want to hold it dear, I totally understand. I've made beautiful things that I couldn't let go of. But if you are willing to leave it behind, that's also wonderful. Usually we take about 2 to 2.5 hours to finish a puppet, and so we're a little bit shorter on time today, and that's fine. So you can start a puppet, get an idea going. Also working collaboratively, so maybe with other people at your table. So like one person cuts out the eyes while the other person cuts out the mouth and the other person cuts out the hair. That might speed things up a little bit. And so the two big instructions I say are, first you have to figure out the face. And a lot of people, when they cut the face, are nervous and they want to make it perfect. Don't worry about perfection. It's about the gesture, the broad stroke. And so I want you, when you're making your face, to use at least 75, that's 3/4% of the piece of paper for the face. Because if you try and make it perfect, you're going to want to cut small and you're going to try and get every single detail, and then you'll have a tiny little pinhead on a relatively large thing. So first big instruction, use at least 75% when you're cutting your big ovular circle. We are really lucky in this modern era to have a whole bunch of different types of paper. So TCC has very generously acquired this Colors of the World. So I've got hundreds of different skin tones up here. So make sure that you come check out the different skin tone puppets once you figure out who you're going to do. Those of you who have computers in your pockets, you might want to bring those out for reference photos. You might Google, decide who you're going to make, and maybe Google an image of that person. That helps me a lot to sort of look at it. Or maybe you know the person you're going to make so well, like they just are burned so strongly in your head that you're just going to do it from scratch. Either of those ways are fine. So instructions if you want it, remember to do 75% for that face. So that first cut's going to be really important. Then the next part you're going to get to is you want to cut all of the pieces out first before you start gluing. Because you're going to want to, because once you start gluing, the shape sort of takes face. So you want to basically like cut all your pieces out, if your eyes, your nose, if they're wearing glasses, and then once you have everything, kind of arrange it and then start gluing. So once you make your face, then you're going to do what I call killing your darlings, which is where you're going to cut the face right across the lips. So the upper lips, almost as though, think about a scissors going right across here and cutting the upper lips up and the lower lips down. The lower lips will be glued to the bottom of the bag, and then the upper lips will be glued to this top portion of the bag. And so that's the kind of scariest part. You're like, oh, I just made this thing. But you're going to cut it. You're going to kill your darling so that you can affix it to here. If you want to add elements like a shirt or whatever, like that totally works as well, but you don't have to. Here's an example. These are some early puppets when I did a show about famous female figure skaters. These are Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan. And this is before people realized that the shoulders could exist on the puppets, and so we just had these sort of like tight, long, skinny puppets. These are great too, as long as they represent something and can help tell a story. I've got adult scissors up here. I've got lots of kid scissors up here. I've got glue sticks. Some people like traditional glue. I like glue. And then, in addition to these skin tone puppets for the faces, we have a whole bunch of different colors. I've got shinies, and then I've got scraps, because really a lot of the pieces that you're cutting are just going to be scraps. I think the big thing that you want to say is the opposite. You know, people say like less is more. Not with puppets. We want maximalism. Use as many colors as you want. Go big, go bright, go vibrant, go colorful, or go home. Just kidding. You don't have to go home. If you want a muted puppet, that's fine too. So figure out who you're going to make. Come up and get your materials, and then also figure out if you're going to collaborate or if you're going to each try and do one individually. And like I said, we've got an hour, and so that might not be enough time to finish, but you can definitely get a good start on your puppets. Any questions? I'm also available to answer questions individually. But yeah, so figure out who you're going to do, come get materials, and let's get started. Do we have the ability to play music, Cindy? Cool. You think? Okay.
I might be able to figure it out.
Let's open up these packages, actually, so it's easy to get into. Oh, and please use these skin tone puppets for colors for faces, but maybe not for outfits as much, so we have enough for everyone to do faces. I love it. Let's see here. Maybe like Kids Bop Dance Party. Wow. There we go. Perfect.
Yes.
Turn it skip. Is it muted there? Oh, that's up. Attach the sound to the. We just free cut, yeah. Yeah, free cut, big gestures. Pencils tend to make people try and be tight and perfectionist, and I just want big, sloppy gestures. You can fix it afterwards. And grab as much of the paper as you want or need. There's plenty of paper. We don't have pencils or pens. I encourage people to cut big gestures and then fix later. You just need one for one puppet, yeah? But if you want two, if you think you're going to mess up the gluing part. Oh, you cut the face, yeah. So make the face first, and then yeah, so big thing is now that everyone has their thing, make your face first, and when you're ready to adhere it to the bag, raise your hand, and I'll help. Is there a puppet in the bag? That's funny.
I need some more silver.
That's funny. Oh yeah, about Jim Henson, one of our favorite puppeteers. Face first, yeah. Yeah, start with the head or the shape of the head, and then figure out what pieces of the face you want. Do you want eyes? Do you want to try to make eyelids or eyelashes? Is the person wearing any noticeable makeup? Maybe they have eyeglasses on or a hat. For anyone thinking about hats, here's two examples. Someone wearing like a baseball cap that's got camouflage built into it. And then, of course, we got Garth Brooks wearing a traditional 10-gallon hat. And then I'm a big fan of glasses with paper. I don't know why, but they just look great. So here's Maurice Sendak and Angela Davis. Angela's got these great yellow glasses on. And Maurice Sendak has these sort of big black rimmed frames. And then I think it's also fun to, be creative and not worry about reality. For example, Cornel West does not have purple hair, but this Cornel West puppet does, right? And then you might even do a puppet of someone who is in the dark, like Babadook, where it's just the eyes. That's kind of a funny, clever representation of a character. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. Who are you going to make today? Oh, awesome. If they want to look at examples, we have a whole bunch of examples in here. And if there are instructions, if they like to follow instructions, there's instructions on the table. But just craft big and gestural. Yeah. Cornel West. Yeah.
Something's broken.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so no music. That means I'm going to sing for you all. I also said leaning into maximalism. This is a fun one. So this is Empress Theodora. She was a Byzantine empress. And so someone sort of tried to make a tile mosaic version of her. That's kind of cool. And then, of course, this is Louis Armstrong, famous jazz musician, and he's holding his trumpet there. So if you want like an accoutrement or a little décolletage, just add more. More is better in these puppets. More is more. Thank you. That's a good phrase. Oh, this is a fun one. I'll bring this one around. And listen to music there. Yeah, I mean, I've got my phone. I'll do the old bucket method. I'll do that. All right. They say it does. I don't know if it actually does, but put it in the middle. Okay. Is this all right? All right. Here's another fun example of a puppet with a snake wrapped around her. That's Britney Spears at the Video Music Awards. And then something as simple as a bow tie, like here on Ralph Ellison, will really make it pop. See, he's pretty much relatively monotone except for that big green bow tie. If you all are just joining us, please feel free to jump over here and grab some construction paper, scissors, glue. We're making puppets in a traditional two-dimensional way with paper bags, but we're elevating them and doing historic figures. If you want, there's instructions. I know some people like to go piece by piece, but my big suggestions are to make a circular face, make it about as big as you can, 70 to 80% of the paper. We have a bunch of different skin tones here and a whole bunch of additional paper. Sometimes fun to collaborate since we only have about 40 minutes, so maybe like figure out a historic figure you're gonna make together and like work in different people. Doesn't have to be historic or famous or someone well known, but it can be, you know, you can make a puppet of your best friend if you want to. Yeah. You just have to tell me the story of that person once the puppet is finished. Oh, look at that. Someone definitely did a good job using at least 70% of the paper. Oh, someone found the glittery paper. Nice. Oh, I already see some hair. I see some people have already started getting the glue sticks out. Do we have a collaboration here? You all working together? Are you making, yeah? Okay, so we have two people working together, some collaborations. Looks like they've divided and conquered. Some people are working on different elements like eyes and nose. Oh, I see a famous puppet being done in 2 dimensions. I like that. I'm going to read through these instructions and see if there's anything. Cut out a face, cut eyebrows, cut out eyelids, cut out eye sockets, cut out pieces of white, smaller sections for the eye sockets, cut out eyeballs, cut out pupils, cut out cheek accents. I thought it said check accents. Cheek accents. Cut out a nose. Cut out nostrils. Cut out the top half of the mouth. Cut out the bottom half of the mouth. Cut out a jaw accent. Cut out hair or a hat, some sort of top that fits over the forehead. Cut out an ear or maybe an accent piece for the ear. Glue the face pieces on. So again, once you've kind of got a shape and a figure, yeah, so big gestures. Don't try and be a perfectionist. Big gestures. And once you've got a face and you're thinking about cutting across the upper and lower lips, let me know and I can help you, because I know that's stressful to take something that you've been working on and then literally cut it in half. It's more like a magic trick than an actual sawing in half. I do. I live downtown, yeah, not far from here. My studio's in the Tulsa Artist Fellowship building, so I do a lot of puppet performances with them. Done shows at Gilcrease. I just did a show last week at Neon Prairie Festival. And the shows are pretty interactive, so when you come to one, I usually write a script, and then a bunch of puppets interact with each other and tell some sort of story. A lot of time travel is involved. Oftentimes facilitated by Kristen Chenoweth 3000, who is a clone of Kristen Chenoweth from the future. She usually uses music to move to different periods of time and tell stories. Oh, I see some noses. I see some eyes.
But Sunny, where's the cut? What?
I don't even know what this one was. Huh. That's funny. It's not even a puppet. It's just a construction paper face.
Well, I did that one. Sloth doesn't have a mouth.
Oh, what is that? I love it.
Do you know the book, The Wild Robot by Peter Brown?
I don't. Okay.
It's a very famous book. We're reading it in class, and this is The Wild Robot.
Very cool.
He's coming out in like a week.
Yeah.
A week? What?
And we're going on a field trip to see it.
So he's so famous that he's going to have a movie? Wow. Oh my gosh, that's great. Very cool. Good job.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
Famous robots. Yeah, I don't know if we have a robot yet. That's exciting.
First time.
First time.
And let's go. It's a ball.
For those of you who are worried about perfectionism, I tell you not to, because I've had people. So this is a puppet. It's Yoko Ono. Some of you all might remember her, John Lennon's wife, famous musician and artist under her own right. And so the person who made this showed up at my puppet workshop. He was a paper artist with his own X-Acto knives and his own sort of board, and spent like all this time. I think he spent 4.5 hours on it. So I tried to tell people, I usually don't let people do that, but he was really adamant that Yoko Ono be perfect. And I understood.
Since I finished kind of broke, I'm going to make a ball.
Nice. Yeah. For the little goblin? Nice. What color? Yeah, there you go. This is a fun little story connection. So some of you may know the Broadway musical Oklahoma. It was developed by Rodgers and Hammerstein. It was based on a play written by a Cherokee playwright named Lynn Riggs. Wrote a play called Green Grow the Lilacs. He's from Claremore. And then Rodgers and Hammerstein developed it into Oklahoma. And then Agnes DeMille, who was the first female choreographer for the New York City Ballet, she actually did the ballet sequence in Oklahoma. And it was the first time that dance was used to progress narrative in a musical. In the musical Oklahoma, correct, yeah. So Agnes DeMille, who had done a series of work, I think called Cowboys or Cow something for the New York City Ballet, then adapted variations of the ballet for the Dream Ballet, where Laurie is deciding between. I have learned so much, and I didn't know that before. Someone made this puppet. Oh yeah, of course. If anybody has not been to Claremore in a while, Lynn Riggs Boulevard is there, and the Museum of History, the Claremore Museum of History, has a really cool exhibit about Lynn Riggs. The family recently gave a whole bunch of his personal artifacts to the museum, and they're on display. So next time you're in Claremore for some thrift shopping or going to the Museum of History or to the Will Rogers Museum, make sure you swing by and see that Lynn Riggs exhibition. And then I also like to think about famous Tulsans. Where is that one? I mentioned earlier that sometimes one of these puppets, Kristen Chenoweth, who we know from Broadway and also from Broken Arrow, will sometimes act as Kristen Chenoweth 3000, so she'll be the narrator for a lot of my puppet shows. I don't know why, but when someone made Kristen Chenoweth, I decided that it looked like a futuristic clone of her. And so Kristen Chenoweth 3000 sometimes narrates shows. And then this is Bill Hader playing a character, Stefan, from Saturday Night Live. Some of you may know Bill Hader is from Tulsa. And his father, Bill Hader Sr., is a storyteller locally and does a lot of programs. But we love good local history as well. Do you mind if I grab this guy? No, so a lot of the puppet shows I actually have read by the people. Like I write these scripts and then everyone reads, so individuals do them. So I don't do too many voices. Sometimes when I do my puppet shows, kids will get a hold of the puppets and they'll get really excited about them, and they might play a little bit rough. And I tell people not to worry. I love the people's patina, as I call it. So this James Baldwin, for example, he's definitely like seen better days, but we can always fix him up a little bit if we decide he gets too crusty. Oh yeah, Avenue Q, the puppet musical. Yeah, it's definitely like for adults. Yeah, it's like adult humor. Yeah, teens. Yeah. Mature content, but it's funny. They're very similar, that sort of traditional style that the Henson Foundation made, but they're not. But from the Henson Company. Wide mouthy. Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're hard to do though.
Yeah, to move especially. Not wood ones. Yeah.
They're a whole other world because you really have to use voice.
Right. Yeah, I recently, one of my favorite movies from childhood is The Dark Crystal by the Jim Henson Foundation, and they recently did a cool prequel for the Netflix, and it is just such beautiful puppetry.
I watched that documentary.
Oh, yeah.
They said people really liked it because he was just kids and fun. He was so creative. He just kept like
Building and building his world.
all kinds of worlds too.
Yeah.
Soul Sesame, with the Muppets and all that. They said that people were very critical of it because they wanted it was childlike.
Right. Yeah, I just watched it recently, and it held up.
You never stop creating things.
Right. That's a good moral of a story. Never stop creating things.
Never stop creating.
Yeah. Driven to create, like a lot of people here. Oh, I'm seeing some ribbons that look like some hair braids of sorts. That's really cool. Squiggly lines coming all the way down. Oh, I see some more collaboration over here. People working together, people working individually. I like it. This one's a fun one. Do you mind if I grab this guy? Yeah. So this is Walt Whitman, but it's sort of, I call it disco Walt Whitman because someone used that like really cool reflective paper. So he really pops out, especially at night. Love it. Love it. Oh, I'm seeing some eyes come together. I'm seeing more faces come and take shape. Let me see what I got up here. It's going to be a limited selection. Just poured things out. Okay, that is going to be the closest. Whoops, not that guy. That's going to be the closest I got. Okay, so I lied to everyone in the room, but just a little bit. It was like a little bitty lie. which was that I didn't have any writing utensils, and that's because I don't like people to start with writing utensils, because I think what happens is people get too perfectionist. However, if you are currently working on an angle, or you think it might help a little bit to have a writing utensil, I've got about 4. So if anybody, okay, we got one request over here. Oh, you
I
ready
know
to cut
we
it? Yeah.
are having so much fun, but I just wanted to let you guys know this workshop, we actually only have like 10 minutes left till 11:45, but you can stay until 12.
Right.
We
I
will
would
stay
do-
until noon if you'd like to stay. But at noon, we do need to shut things down.
it looks
So
great.
I just wanted to let you guys know that.
Obvious who it is.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you can also cut it at an angle too, so you can cut in the middle here, and it'll just hang over a little bit.
Yeah. Look,
Yeah, you know, or you don't have to cut it.
That's a
That's the
really
other
good
thing.
job.
So,
Another option too is you don't have to cut it, you could just glue it. So some people have puppet faces that maybe don't lend to the mouth opening, and that's fine. They can just nod their heads and be embodied in other ways. Did anybody else want a pen, pencil? No? No? Okay. What was it? Oh yeah, so now a lot of you may be having scraps. If you bring them up to the front of the room, this big bag where you got all the paper to begin with, just toss it in there, push it down, perfect. Yeah, scraps go in this big bag. Okay, so yeah, so I would do next. Oh yeah, so glue all the pieces. Oh, so sorry. Yeah, yeah, glue the face first, separate from this guy, and then once the face is done, then we'll cut. Yeah, so cut a line straight through the.
Watch out for the wild robot.
It'll help, but don't worry too much about it. Like if they're the scale you want them at, that's fine.
Watch out for the robot.
I'll watch out for the robot. Thank you for the clarification. Yeah.
For a character, Dancing with the Stars, Lynn Goodman.
Who's Lynn Goodman? I don't know her. Him.
It's a man.
Is he the host? Whoa, look at that one. That's great. I love the hair on the front and the back. Who is that? Taylor Swift. I've heard of her. She sings some songs. Can you what do you know about Taylor Swift? Is there something you know that I might not know?
Her lucky number is 13.
What? Her lucky number is 13? That's traditionally an unlucky number. Wow, Taylor Swift's lucky number is 13. Oh, she has a brother. Is he older or younger? Is he a singer too? Oh, we don't know. We don't know. So I've learned that Taylor Swift has a brother. I've learned that Taylor Swift's lucky number is 13. What's your favorite song by Taylor Swift? Love Story. That's a good song. I've definitely heard that one. That's a great Taylor Swift. Great job. All right, so Taylor Swift is in the house, and I don't have a Taylor Swift, so just saying. Like I said, you can take your puppets with you, but if you want them to perform nationally and internationally, leave them behind, and who knows where they'll end up. I think I might see some Star Trek. Yeah, all right. I have a funny story about that. I used to work in children's publishing, and LeVar Burton came to meet with our publisher, and the day that he was meeting with our publisher, I was supposed to set up breakfast and meet LeVar at like 8:45. Totally slept through my alarm. It was the only time I ever did that in that job. Woke up at 9:30 to the phone call from my publisher being like, "Where are you? LeVar Burton's in the lobby still." Very embarrassing. LeVar forgave me though. He was a sweetheart. No reading rainbow for me. What is that from? Oh, look at this. Can you guess who this is, JD? She's a very famous singer. No, famous singer, singer-songwriter.
Taylor Swift.
There you go. Good job. Did you know that her lucky number is 13?
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift's the lucky number 13. So for some of you all, we just have a new celebrity that walked in the room. He doesn't have a puppet of him, but this is JD. He runs the Tulsa Vintage Barbie Museum, and there's a show up the Sherwin Miller Museum out on 71st Street. It's up for another month and a half about Ken. So everyone knows about Barbie, right? But Ken, who is the male doll, and Brad and a lot of Ken's friends, there's a sort of story about the Ken doll and the evolution of Ken and American masculinity. We have a doll from this woman named Willa Eason, who's from Tulsa, and she actually created Sunman and Menelik, because a lot of the characters that she was working with were African American, because she was noticing that there weren't African American dolls. But there's, of course, some of the early Mattel Black dolls. Anyway, it's a cool exhibition. It's up through November 4th. And if you want to know anything about vintage Barbie or Ken, this guy will answer all your questions. He knows everything. He also might bring you an iced latte in the middle of your puppet workshop, if you're nice to him. Great job, guys. I'm loving these colors here, that like soft red and the blue. That's great. Oh, and look at that. Is that a specific animal? Oh my gosh, you guys, we have a canine puppet in the house. That's gorgeous. Oh my gosh, what a like act of love and devotion. I love it.
Very judgmental, so that I'm going to use this to translate.
I love it. And I love these sort of like anime star kind of like eyes. That's great. Very cool. We've got robots, we've got animals, we've got people, we've got pop stars, we've got, who's that? Wow, Donald Trump, we've got former presidents. You guys, we're making all sorts of great things today. Great job. Oh, yeah. Oh. Whoa. Whoa. It's all coming together. The Starfleet would be proud. I think we may have 2 Starfleet characters from today. Look at that. Oh, and we've got some layered hair. I'm loving this texture. Oh, yes, that's a good era of Reba. Yes, I'm loving it. Oh, and who is this green-eyed beauty? Oh, Little Orphan Annie! Who was the character that played Annie in the original movie? Eileen Quinn. Is she still acting, still doing stuff? And like we said, if you don't finish in time, that's fine. You can take your materials with you if you want to grab a few extra pieces of paper. And of course, you can also leave the puppets behind and they can become part of the larger puppet collection. Help us grow towards 2,000. One day we'll have to do a huge puppet show with all 1,600 puppets. Oh my gosh, we could do a Bollywood production with all the puppets, like a huge Bollywood number. We don't have any Bollywood stars. Yeah, we have some really good puppets. Thank you for the coffee. Which one? No, that's my dad. I used him for Gordon Todd Skinner because I didn't have a Gordon Todd Skinner puppet because my dad looks like Gordon Todd Skinner. Oh no, I made that a long time ago. Oh no. Yeah, we have. Did you see this dog over here? That one's really great. Looks like Rico. What's your dog's name? Thank you. We appreciate you coming out today. Yeah. What's your Toffee? Nice. Zany puppets. Toffee. Cindy, can they go out this way? All right. For those of you who just showed up too, make sure you check out the exhibit that's on the wall. It's called Please Touch the Art. It's an exhibit for folks who are visually impaired. I teach students at New View, which is a place where people who've lost sight later in life learn adaptive technologies. And we're coming next Friday to to experience the exhibit. Everybody's really excited about that one. Oh, wow, that's great.
His actual name is Wyatt.
Rod.
It's a robot from the
Rod the robot. Who's this awesome little
Bill.
white bill? Yeah.
Right, you're right. Robots cannot have sons. But since he called the wild robot, he was on a cargo ship and there was a big storm and he ran into a mountain and then had to climb into the forest and stuff. So he was climbing a mountain for fun one day, but then a rock chipped and his nest fell and all the other eggs and his brothers and sisters and parents all died.
Oh, wow.
He was the last egg that wasn't cracked.
Oh, the last egg, yeah.
Protected the egg and told one day he eventually had to tell him that he wasn't actually his mom. And this is what he eaten. And look, watch that.
You're a great storyteller. Caw, caw. Oh, that's great. And then he eats little vegetable matter, grass to eat. Looking good, guys, looking good. Oh, I see some fast cutters here. I like it when you have a short amount of time to do something and it just means you work faster. Get it done, get it done.
Progress, not perfection.
Yes, progress, not perfection. That's a good line.